Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I'm SocietySucks and today I'm checking out Let's Kill You a Billion Times to Make You Immortal by Kurzgesagt. I have no idea what exactly this video could be about. Not sure how killing somebody any amount of times could make them immortal, but we'll see.
You might be unkillable, impossible to delete out of existence. If
How?
one of the most exciting ideas about physics, quantum immortality, is true.
Quantum
to test
immortality.
This idea, we'll put a nuclear bomb in your living room, but more on that later.
Fantastic.
This is real science happening
What a
around
great
one of the
start.
most successful theories of physics. To understand why, we need to tell you a story. The story of the smallest parts in the universe, atoms and fundamental particles. With everyday objects, things intuitively make sense. If you kick a marble 10 times with the same force and at the same angle, it always lands in the same spot.
Yes,
but
of
if
course.
you kick an electron 10 times exactly the same way, it shows up in different places. On the most fundamental level of reality, randomness is the rule. The story that solves this is called quantum mechanics. Simplified, it goes something like this. A particle like an electron is not like a tiny marble, but like a shapeshifter, a diffuse thing we call a wave that ebbs and flows. But to make it much weirder, it's not a wave of matter or energy, but a wave of probability, an immaterial essence that has values between 0% and 100%. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Quantum mechanics doesn't really tell us much about the electron. It only tells us how this entity that we call an electron behaves on average.
Is that supposed to be
Say you
Schrodinger's
shoot an
cat?
electron gun at
I think
your
that's how that's
apartment.
called.
You shoot it 100 times. 80 times the electron shows up in your living room and 20 times in your kitchen. So the probability wave of our electron is 80% in the living room and 20% in the kitchen. What's deeply annoying is that this story of probability waves works insanely well in reality. It's not just some brainchild that only works on paper. Scientists have tested it in countless experiments and it works every single time. It explains how a lot of real things work, from information passing through microchips to the atoms fusing in the center of stars. And yet, how can this story make sense? All of our other scientific stories give us a mental picture of the things they're describing. A sphere of
this
iron
one
at the center of Earth,
doesn't
an
really.
elastic fabric of space. But a wave of probability, what's that even supposed to look like? Quantum mechanics doesn't tell us anything about the electron itself, what it looks like, how it moves, or how it tastes. But if our story doesn't describe the electrons themselves, what does it describe? And how does it potentially make you immortal?
Most of this is just going over my
What is the quantum
head.
story really about? Scientists have been debating this for a century. They've come up with tons of ideas we can't cover here, but there are two popular schools of thought. We'll call them linguists and literary critics. They're screaming and arguing over what the quantum story really means. The position of the linguists is shut up and calculate. They basically
So
claim that
just use
quantum
math.
mechanics is not a story about reality, but just a kind of grammar for the theoretical language of the universe. With this language, we can predict experiments. Nothing else. If there is no story, there's no point in asking what the story says about the electron. Whether electrons are tiny marbles or clouds, waves of negative charge, or Detective Pikachu is missing the point. Quantum mechanics doesn't enable you to visualize any electrons. All you can do is to run experiments. And physics is all about experiments, not about creating mental pictures for us. So shut up, stop imagining fairy tales, and just use the probability wave to calculate things. Follow the grammar, ignore the plot. No, scream the literary critics. Read between the lines. There's a hidden meaning here. They are many worldlians, and they're convinced that quantum mechanics is a story about reality, and they want to interpret the story. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is not the same as the multiverse, by the way, which is a whole different can of worms, but we'll get to that another time. The many worldlians think that the universe is an infinitely complex quantum state, where all physically possible outcomes coexist simultaneously. If the probability wave of your electron is split 80% to 20% between your living room and the kitchen, that means that the electron is split in a similar way. that there are 5 versions of the electron. 4 of them are going to the
Which goes to the living room,
and 1 to the kitchen. But it isn't just the electron that splits. You are observing the electron, so there are 5 versions of you too. 4 of them see the electron in the living room and 1 in the kitchen. Each of these different versions of you and the electron are equally real, equally true. And
honestly, can't decide which one of the two makes more sense.
But they can't communicate or interact in any way, so they're totally invisible to each other. Which means that whoever you are right now, you are just one of your versions.
If I was forced to choose between these two, I wouldn't be able to. Because I can't get behind either of the two ideas fully. A combination of two, I feel like there needs to be some sort of middle ground where you take some of the concepts from each of these ideas and just combine it. I don't know.
Experiencing just one thing, either seeing the electron in the living room or in the kitchen. Many worlds means that all physically possible worlds are coexisting right here, right now, but independently of each other like the branches of a tree. And there are a lot of them. Every possible quantum process means there are other possible worlds. A radioactive atom decays, another world exists where it didn't. A cosmic ray hits one of your cells, another world exists where the ray just passed through. Each second, bazillions upon bazillions.
I mean, this really just feels like the multiverse theory.
Stop it, shout the linguists. If these worlds can't interact with each other, we can't check whether they exist. This is not science, so please shut up and calculate.
That is true. That's not really science. That is just a theory that multiple different worlds exist. You can't prove it.
Wait, there is a way to find out. But to do it, you'll have to die a few hundred times. And maybe prove that you're immortal.
Yeah, how do you die more than one time?
All we need are 2 electron detectors.
Oh, I mean, technically you can die more than one time. You could have your heart stop and you're dead, but then you can be revived. So you technically died, but, you know, not fully.
To a nuclear bomb in your living room. If the detector in your living room is activated, the nuke explodes. If the one in the kitchen is activated, you're safe. Now sit on the nuke and have your brave assistant shoot the electron gun. There are 2 ways this can go. There's a 20% chance the electron lands in the kitchen
and an 80% chance it's gonna blow.
Chance you die. Okay, let's shoot. Beep. Oh, lucky you. The electron landed in the kitchen. Let's try once more. Beep. And once again. Beep. And another 100 times. Beep, 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 beep. If there is only one universe, you'll die fairly soon. Sooner rather than later, the electron will trigger the nuke and you'll be instantly vaporized.
I mean, 100 with an 80% chance?
Is true, then every time your assistant shoots the gun, there are 5 versions of you and 4 instantly die. Only one of your versions is alive, and there's only one thing you can experience: your survival. It doesn't matter how many times you try. From your perspective, you'll survive every time.
So what, like Russian roulette? There's 6 possible options. 5 of them, you survive. 1 of them, you don't. So what, every time you play Russian roulette, there's 5 universes where you survive and 1 where you die?
At first, it will seem like luck, but at some point, your luck will become near impossible. In a universe with just one reality, your odds of surviving 100 times in a row are about 1 in 10 due.
Yeah, I mean, this is just math. Like, we literally had this in math class less than a year ago. This is just probability.
A vigintillion, a 1 followed by 70 zeros. So, if you did the experiment 100 times and you're still here, the universe just whispered its deepest secret to you. Yes, you killed hundreds of versions of yourself, but you now...
I mean, that's like, let's say you have a 50-50 choice between getting or not getting something, and you do it 5 times in a row. And each of the 5 times, you get it. You just got 5 50-50s in a row. That's probability. It's incredibly rare that you'll get that. Just like this, just this is way more rare, because it's 1 in... No, it's 20 out of 100, 1 in 5 every time. This is just probability. This is math.
Are true. because
That's
you
all it
are
is.
still here, experiencing things. And that you're kind of immortal. Okay, well, all that might be a bit overwhelming. Let's break it down again. The cosmic secret. If every possible quantum process always happens in some branch, then this doesn't only mean that there are almost, but not quite, infinite versions of you, but there's always a you that gets insanely lucky. A tumor starts, but a cosmic ray kills it before it spreads. A bolt of lightning strikes at you, but a quantum fluke makes it miss by a meter. A washing machine falls from a roof, but all its atoms quantum tunnel through your body. No matter how extremely high the likelihood is that you'll die, there may always be a branch in which you survive. So, should you start wingsuit flying today?
No.
Well, not so fast.
Definitely not.
For every version of you that survives, bazillions don't. And all those versions of you are just as real as you are right now watching this video. So if you care about the current version of yourself, you should care just as much about all the versions still waiting to be and their loved ones. In other words, if you see a washing machine falling, better move away and save as many of your versions as you can. The more universes exist with you in them, the better. Your existence makes the universe richer. And there's another good reason to move. While the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics feels beautiful and elegant, that doesn't make it true.
Exactly.
We don't know if it's true, and so far no literary critic sat on a nuke to risk being wrong. If the shut up and calculate people are right, there is just one world, just one version of you. And if the washing machine hits you, you are done for.
You die.
But wouldn't this be nice to know? If the many worlds idea is true, then no matter how unlucky you get, you will always know that somewhere you are lucky.
Well, that's nice and all, but what does the knowledge of different versions of you out there being fine really matter if you're not fine? Like, let's say there was so many different universes, so many different versions of me. And let's say in those other ones I was fine, but in this one something happened to me. So what does the knowledge that somewhere else I'm fine do if I'm not? This is just pointless. Yeah, I'll be honest, this entire video really just felt like something I think most people have thought of before. Like, is there different universes where I did something differently or something happened differently? I mean, yeah, this is really just mixing math with a theory of multiple universes. Let's say there's 100 universes and you have an 80% chance of dying and a 20% chance of survival. So yeah, in 80 of those 100 universes, you'll die, in 20 you'll survive. It's just probability and a theory. That's all this is, to me at least. There's not really much more to say, so yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. If you want to see more reactions, check out this video right here, and with that, I'll see you in the next video.